Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked where I climb the Online Series 11 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today I wanted to try out a really fun team inspired by CYNTHIA'S team, built by 2017 World Champion Ryota Otsubo, who you might know is one of my favorite players in Team Builders, so please go check him out. I've linked his Twitter down in the description below, as well as his YouTube channel. He recently put together a team inspired by Champion CYNTHIA'S team, and the main thing to note is, of course, there's no Spiritomb. Instead, you've got Calyrex-Shadow Rider, because playing Series 11 without a restricted Pokemon is just a disaster. So you at least, keep things competitive with the Calyrex-Shadow Rider. So as always, I'll talk about the team a little bit, but if you want to just check out the battles, you can just skip to it in the timestamps linked in the description below. This team mainly features a couple of Pokemon that you normally don't see in VGC, like Roserade and Lucario. Garchomp, Togekiss, Milotic, and Calyrex are all Pokemon that we've actually used a fair amount before, so none of those are super surprising, but you've got some fun sets here. The Garchomp is a Lumberry set with Swords Dance, as well as Skill Shot and Earthquake. So Lumberry is valuable, especially against some of the Sun teams that you may run into, right? Sleep Powder from Venusaur or Spore from Amoonguss are pretty common attacks, and so this will allow you to take that Swords Dance up and then, potentially Max Quake against them. Lucario here is really interesting. It's close combat, extreme speed, helping hand, quick guard. This is a pretty fun utility set while also dealing large amounts of damage. The tough thing about Lucario is that, I think, it's a Pokemon that normally likes to run Scarf or Sash, and both the Scarf and Sash are just such essential items on Roserade and Calyrex on this team. So you're stuck with Life Orb here, which isn't the worst item. The main issue for Lucario is that it's relatively frail, so you won't actually be able to get too many attacks off with it. But the cool thing is, with the Quick Guard and with the Inner Focus as well, you actually can be very good into opposing Fake Out users, right? And so you can just Quick Guard as they go on to Fake Out with you, deny them a Fake Out, and then potentially get a Sleep Powder off with something like Roserade. Togekiss here is pretty standard. It's a set that we saw a bunch throughout all of Sword and Shield. We've got Weakness Policy Milotic here, which I really like, because with this team, you actually want to Dynamax Milotic or Garchomp most of the time. Calyrex is, I think, stronger often as a non-max option, especially considering that you're running Focus Sash. And so Policy Milo is fun because there's so many Rillabooms and Lekis running around, so often your Policy will get activated by one of those two Pokemon, if not something else to hit you for super effective. You can max and then just retaliate back for a ton of damage. Hyper Beam here is also really cool because it gives you more coverage than players would normally expect from a Pokemon like Milotic. Finally, you've got Focus Sash, Calyrex-Shadow Rider. This is something we've already used in Series 11, and it is one of the more consistent ways to use Calyrex. Life Orb, of course, also a really good item, but with Life Orb, you're going to need a lot more protection and a lot more, either fast-paced offense, like Whimsicott with Tailwind, for example, or a lot of good, defense to support it. This team has the Follow Me with Togekiss, but that's basically it, so I think Sash, much more consistent of an item to be running on the Calyrex, especially considering that you don't want to Dynamax it most of the time. And finally, to round things out, you've got Choice Scarf Roserade. Roserade's a Pokemon that, you don't see very often in VGC, because if you're looking for a Pokemon to put things to sleep, for example, like Amoonguss and Venus are often more consistent, but to fit Cynthia's team, obviously, Roserade, it does exist, and you get good coverage between Sleep Powder as well as Sludge Bomb and Leaf Storm to take advantage of your typing as well. So, yeah. Really excited to try this team out. Since we're finishing out Series 11, I featured a lot of super serious teams throughout the last couple of months. I wanted to finish things off with a couple of Pokemon and teams that maybe aren't as consistent, but can be really fun and can still hold their own on the rank ladder. So the last few days, I've been trying out a bunch of different things to see what can be good, what maybe isn't as good. And so this was one of the teams that I decided I wanted to feature on the channel. So yeah. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. If you do enjoy, please show support by leaving a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. And this question of the day is kind of random, but I'm looking to decorate my apartment at the moment, and I'm just curious, what are your favorite things that you've purchased or favorite ways that you've managed to decorate your place that you reside in? So let me know in the comment section below, especially if you have any favorite products that you've bought, because I'm really looking for anything. And let's get started. Alright, first game of the day, and we're up against a really cool Rayquaza team with Raichu, Cresselia, Celesteela, Amoonguss, and Rhyperior. I think this is probably a Dynamax Milotic kind of game. Trick Room is the main thing I'm nervous about. They don't have any Ghost Resist though, so Calyrex is strong as a lead, honestly. Roserade for a turn 1 Sleep Powder I feel like can be pretty good. Yeah, especially to stop Trick Room potentially. So Roserade, Calyrex, Milotic. And then who do I want as the final Pokemon here? Warchomp's kind of fun, especially with Scale Shot. Can't really hit Celesteela for very much. I think Lucario is just too frail in this matchup, right? Because if Trick Room goes up, I just can't do anything. Togekiss is probably the objectively right answer, thanks to Follow Me. Yeah, I think Togekiss is just too good to not bring here. Especially because we have Babiri Berry, right? So I even have an answer into Dynamax Celesteela, potentially. So the general goal here is to Dynamax Milotic, I think. Yeah, Lucario just not able to really do too much in this matchup, and Garchomp has to worry about like Ice Beam. I have no idea what the Rayquaza set is, and so if it, you know, just as a Dragon type attack, it can't just one-shot me. It's gonna be Raichu plus Rayquaza. I feel like I'm playing VGC 2016 right now. Okay. Could just be a fake out, double up onto Roserade. Could be Electro Web or Nuzzle into Calyrex. Now I don't mind going for an Astral Barrage here. Honestly, I'm kind of okay just going for Astral Barrage and Sleep Powder here. If you fake out Roserade, then you probably have double into it to actually KO it. I guess you could fake out Dynamax Rayquaza, Max Airstream it. That would be probably the most interesting play my opponent can make. They're going to Dynamax, okay. But if you go for that, then I get a free switch in into the Togekiss. And with Togekiss, I could just go for Follow Me and potentially even Dynamax my Calyrex. And if they don't fake out into us on turn 1 and I hit a Sleep Powder, like I think they have to fake out here, right? But if they don't fake out, that would obviously be amazing. Yeah, they go for it though. Like I could switch Roserade out, but if they were going to Max Airstream anyway, and actually we activate Poison Point, which is pretty neat. So Roserade, even though we'll most likely not get an attack off here, still putting in work before fainting. And they will Max Airstream. Okay. Ooh, interesting though. They split their damage. Yeah, I think that's smart. Leaves me vulnerable to another Max Airstream now. This next turn. Are you Life Orb, Rayquaza? Yep. Okay. So Raichu will actually faint for one more turn of poison here. I would think Rayquaza outspeeds me, assuming you're max speed here. Raichu certainly will. I lean towards just protecting here and going for a Sleep Powder. To get a free switch into Milotic. And this way, yeah, like, you can't KO my Calyrex with your Raichu at least. Yeah, good Electro Web. Electro Web into Airstream onto the Roserade is just the safest play for them to make. One interesting thing I could have gone for in this game was Lucario into Roserade. It's a really volatile lead because they're both such feral Pokemon, but the cool thing about that lead is you can potentially Quick Guard into Sleep Powder against fake out users that are slower than Lucario. Although that wouldn't necessarily work here. But I've gotten my opponent to spend 2 turns with their Dynamax already, so that's not terrible. Okay, I think we can go into Togekiss first. Protect Togekiss and then Dynamax Milo. Because their late game damage is honestly not very good. I think so much of their damage on this team comes from Rayquaza. Because you look at what's remaining, Cresselia, Amoonguss, Rhyperior, Celesteela. Out of those, Milotic has a very good matchup into the Amoonguss, into the Rhyperior. Cress is okay. It doesn't do much damage to us, but we also don't do much damage to them. And then Celesteela is probably the scariest, given the Togekiss that I have in the back. The other question is, like, who else I could have brought into this matchup, and I really don't think I would have liked the idea of Garchomp or, honestly, the Lucario in this one. So, I think we did bring the best Pokemon. This is interesting. If you're my opponent, who do you target? Because I'm leaning towards just an Astral Barrage into a Protect here. Oh, I guess I could just Follow Me into Astral Barrage too. I want to max Milotic in this game. I think I'm fine going for Astral Barrage into Protect here. I don't want to take any unnecessary damage with Togekiss, and I could see them actually going for a Trick Room with Cress right now. They have Steel Spike. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's one of the other reasons why I wanted to protect. I mean, just bypass any potential damage from Rayquaza. Really cool to play against Rayquaza, though. I don't think we've really used it much in Series 8/11, and it's a very fun Pokemon. Just pretty difficult to execute, right? Especially without a Mega Evolution in this game. Okay, huge Astral Barrage there, so I'll gladly take that. And I see win. Okay, cool. So this gives me a free switch in into Milotic now. And I haven't Dynamaxed with it. So the late game is looking decently good for us. My main question now is the Rayquaza, can you like one-shot my Milotic, or sorry, my Togekiss with whatever steel type attack you have? Because you did consume my Mabiri Berry. I'm not very confident on KOing, to be honest, because we took what? About 30 plus HP through Protect? Yeah. 32. So I think we should survive. Was it Iron Tail? So I'm going to Dynamax here. I'm going to Geyser. And just Gleam. I guess I could get the knockout onto the Rayquaza, but one, Rayquaza is more likely to carry Protect than Cresselia, and two, Cresselia theoretically could have Moonlight, and I really don't want that to heal up at all. Because Milotic doesn't exactly do too much damage into it. Okay. We're gonna max Milo here. So Rayquaza was really cool. Fortunately, we were able to weather the storm and not take too much damage from it. But it's actually Iron Head, okay. Yep, and we survive. So if we don't flinch here, that should be game over. Even if Togekiss flinches, actually, I think we're still fine, honestly. It depends on what their final Pokemon is, but it has to be one of Amoonguss, Rhyperior, or Celesteela. If it's Celesteela, Geyser just destroys you in the rain. It won't one-shot you, but it should be a 2-hit KO. If it's Amoonguss or Rhyperior, I mean, if it's Rhyperior, the game is just immediately over. If it's Amoonguss, I still have Hailstorm, but no flinch here, so now it's a 2v1 in this endgame. Cool. Roserade was actually so clutch thanks to Poison Point. Poison Point being a very uncommon ability in VGC, but actually provides a lot of potential value against these fake-out users here. So that broke a potential Focus Sash on Raichu and allowed us to KO a little bit quicker. So Celesteela is my opponent's last one. We can just Geyser and Helping Hand now. Helping Hand Geyser into another Geyser should get the KO. They could Protect, obviously. If they Protect this turn, actually, I think they just lose because we get so much damage through the Protect. Yeah. But now, I mean, I said so much. I think it'll do like 20, maybe, through the Protect, but we'll see. A lot more, actually. Okay, so maybe not especially defensive. I mean, Milo's also, like, pretty strong, but cool. That's perfect. So another Helping Hand Geyser here. Your only option is to, I guess, go for a double Protect unless you're faster than Milo and you have Sub. Or your Special Defense Celesteela and you get a Special Defense boost by KOing Togekiss. They are faster. They will get the Air Slash off, but that's fine. I guess I could have protected Togekiss and gone for Geyser here as well, but I didn't think I'd ever have to worry about Celesteela winning the endgame in this situation. There's Max Geyser. That should get the KO. Cool. Very cool Rayquaza team here. Yeah, there just have not been many high-ranking Rayquaza teams at all, and it's a tough restricted Pokemon to execute in this format because of how many weaknesses it has, right? Ice, Dragon, Fairy, Rock, and so many of those are common types. And so it's like, you know, normally with Rayquaza, you'd want either run like an offensive Life Orb set like my opponent had, an Assault Vest set, or maybe a Focus Sash Swords Dance set. Those are probably like the three most viable options. But yeah, we just had a pretty like strong early game, as in like we didn't, you know, faint too quickly from Rayquaza, and that's what really mattered. Their decision to split their damage was interesting, but the poison on the Raichu was actually very, very helpful and handy because it prevented them from, you know, just spamming Electro Web, and then allowed me to get a free switch in into Togekiss while also not having to worry. And part of the issue for my opponent is that they lack a lot of good offense outside of Rayquaza, right? So, for example, if you have something like an Urshifu or just anything else that can hit really hard, like can pair up with that Rayquaza, turn 3 of Rayquaza's Dynamax could have been really scary. But they switched in Cresselia, and that's not exactly a huge offensive threat. And they ended up even Steel Spiking into the Togekiss, allowing me to get a free Astral Barrage into both Cresselia and the Rayquaza. So, yeah, us having Babiri here was really clutch. Togekiss bulky enough to survive the Max Steel Spike with Babiri through Protect into an Iron Head as well, which was really nice. So, yeah, that was a fun way to get things started, and let's just keep things going. Second game of the day, and is Solgaleo. Wow, okay. We're really running into the interesting restrictors today. Solgaleo, Dragapult, Instinct, Grimmsnarl, Grimm. So, what am I worried about? Thunderwave / Scary Face from Grimm, Electroweb from Rillaboom, Calyrex, Astral Barrage. Definitely powerful here. I mean, Garchomp is actually a really good sweeper. If I get a Swords Dance off, Max Quake should just KO everything. So that's actually pretty intriguing. I've got Rhyperior here, but we don't have Yawn on Togekiss, so it's a little bit less effective. Milo's not good here because of Gastrodon, so I think I'm not bringing that. Lucario is close combat, but it also doesn't feel great. What if I went Togekiss Garchomp because of the Rhyperior? It's not a terrible idea, but Roserade's also compelling. Yeah, honestly, like, Roserade Garchomp is interesting to me with Togekiss and Calyrex as the final one. Part of the thing is I don't want to lead Calyrex because I think it's a really effective late game sweeper with Astral Barrage, especially into their two primary offensive options in Dragapult and Solgaleo. Lucky actually I'd argue is an offensive option as well, and that's where Garchomp can help a little bit. Yeah, Lucario is just like an odd one, right? Because it's kind of frail and it's Life Orb, right? So it's very easy for us to just get one shot. We go with the Lecky plus Grimm. Okay, that's a great lead for us here, I'd argue. They don't have a Max Quake switch in either. Now, the only hesitance in maxing is not knowing what moveset their Grimmsnarl is on turn 1 of this game. What I could do is just Sludge Bomb. And honestly, Scale Shot. And I'm okay with that because I really don't want to switch out and lose the offensive pressure I have, but I also don't want to max and just get, like, tricked by Grimmsnarl and eat up a full Incense, right? Because then you can just bring in the Dragapult and then just max Wormwood me. Right now, we're in a very strong offensive position, right? My opponent, unless, I mean, you could be Max Airstream Regieleki, but it'd be very bold to Dynamax Alecki in this lead. And yeah, they're just going to protect. Okay, that's fine. And they just set up a Reflect. Cool, that works for me, honestly. I think that's a great turn 1. I could have even gotten a Swords Dance off there, but I wanted to pressure the Alecki slot a little bit. And Sludge Bomb there almost gets the one-hit KO on a Grimmsnarl. No poison there, unfortunately, this time around, but can't complain. And that is not a bad start to the game for us. Okay, now what? Grimm probably goes for a Light Screen. Alecki Volt switches, maybe. But the thing is, you just committed Protect, so now I actually think it is maybe appropriate to Dynamax. Because you have to switch something in, and that would have to eat up a Max Quake. I'm also not opposed to leaving Grimmsnarl out on the field right now and denying my opponent free switch-ins. So I'm actually down to, yeah, Sludge Bomb, Alecki, Max, and then Quake into Alecki as well. This should be a guaranteed knockout into something this turn, right? If we knocked out Grimmsnarl last turn, that would have been really sweet, but I can't complain. Swords Dance would have been a nice play, but I did not want to leave the Alecki slot unpunished. And I don't think we really need Swords Dance even with Reflect here, because so many of their Pokemon are weak to Garchomp. Okay, they just set up Light Screen as well. Cool. And this is what I mean now, right? It's like, yeah, you set up screens, but I can just ignore your Grimmsnarl. Oh, they actually offer Hyper Beam. Okay, I actually think that's probably their best possible play here. I like that a lot. That did nothing, though. Wow. If I had to guess, this was Focus Sash Alecki. So we'll get the KO onto it now. Get a special defense boost along the way, which is also nice. What's interesting now is if they have that Dragapult in the back. If you do, I probably would have to switch out the Roserade, Max Guard Garchomp, bring in Togekiss, and then I can follow me after that. I've got late game Calyrex though, which is also good just with Astral Barrage. Yeah, they do bring in Dragapult. Okay. Nicely done to just give up the Alecki like that and yeah, not switch something else carelessly, and I think that's well done. I mean, I almost want to switch this out. I definitely don't want to run. That is not what I want to do here. Yeah, I think going out into Togekiss and Max Guarding here is fine. Because they, even if you read into this and you like Phantasm the Togekiss, it's still okay. And then the question is also, does my opponent anticipate the Max Wormwind here? I guess the only issue is thanks to Reflect, I'm not KOing Dragapult. But I can also bring in Roserade later on for another Sleep Powder, and I also have double Astral Barrage, so like what I'm aiming for is Wormwind, a single Wormwind into Dragapult, then I can just Astral Barrage to potentially pick up a double knockout right now. So, Roserade's been great, but I guess for how good our lead matchup was, I feel like this could have played out a little bit better, where there were a fair amount of wasted attacks. But the good thing here is, imagine if I knocked out both Pokemon last turn, then my opponent would just get Dragapult and Solgaleo out, and they just have entirely too much offense with that duo. I just can't afford that right now. Okay, they go for T-Wave, that's fine. So we've seen 3 of the 4 moves already. Okay, nice Phantasm. End up ignoring the Dragapult or Garchomp slot. But we survived, so honestly it's fine. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I could have just attacked there, but I just didn't feel like it was worth it. I'm down to just follow me here in Wormwind. It's likely that they're just gonna max guard here, and Spirit Break Togekiss. But that would give me a free switch and back into Roserade. I guess then they could just go for the T-Wave play again. Okay, yeah, nice max guard. Get paralyzed. Okay. I just don't want to KO Grimmsnarl right now because I really don't want them to get a free switch in. But the Phantasm prediction there was very nice for my opponent and pays off really heavily. And the reason they could go for that is because like you have Reflect up anyway, so even if I Wormwind, it's not the end of the world for you. So their last turn of Dynamax. Huh, got Trick Room. It's an interesting consideration. Okay, we'll go into Calyrex. With Calyrex out, what would I do in my opponent's shoes? I would just Thunderwave Calyrex, Wormwind, Garchomp, I think. So I could switch Garchomp out, sack Roserade, and just Astral Barrage here. And if they miss T-Wave, they're absolutely doomed. I like that play, I think. Because I need Garchomp for the late game Solgaleo. Excuse me. My opponent played the last couple turns really, really nicely, though. Like, I actually think for how good my lead was, my opponents outplayed me very heavily. With the Hyper Beam, like, not getting careless, switching Aleki out into anything, just sacrificing Aleki, getting both screens up with Grimmsnarl. All of that's added up to very good success for my opponent so far, so well done. Yeah, okay, they're going to T-Wave. That is going to connect. Maybe I should have just taken the risk with Garchomp that turn and just gone for the Wormwind. I don't know. Haha. Nicely done. Once again, doubling up. If I just stayed in with Garchomp, they're scale-shotted. That's probably game over as well. Okay. I wonder if Trick Room was ever actually the right play there. I mean, the thing is, now I eliminate your Grimmsnarl, so I do have a Sleep Powder with this Roserade. Right? So I can protect the Spectrier. Sleep Powder into Dragapult. Oh! They didn't bring Solgaleo. Whoa! That's interesting. I guess they just really didn't feel great about the Solgaleo matchup, and that would actually make a lot of sense given the Garchomp and the Spectrier. Nicely done. Okay. I am just going to Sleep Powder into Astral Barrage here. Sleep Powder does connect. Okay, I think we should outspeed Gastrodon here. Gastro is really slow, so now we're trying to avoid a full para. Nice. Dragapult takes its first turn of sleep. Ah, we do get para though. Okay, but the Ice Beam and a Roserade. Alright. We still have another opportunity to win here. The problem is if you're from my opponent's shoes, you're always just going to Dragon Darts, right? Oh, so I guess one play I could make... no, 2 darts with Life Orb gets the KO into this anyway, so I need to just hope for a 2-turn sleep, I think. I'm just going to Astral into Scale Shot. And just hope for a 2-turn sleep. I mean, yeah, we needed to, like, the odds were slightly in our favor, I think, to connect Sleep Powder. And they do stay asleep. Okay, nice. Oh, I should have Scale Shot into Dragapult, though, I think. Okay, Skill Shot there. Only hits twice. That's not amazing. It's mainly Calyrex, though, here. I need Calyrex to come through. Okay, we get Astral Barrage off. Nice. Scarf Roserade coming in the clutch for us in this one. Beautiful. But it's still not over, right? Like, you just Ice Beam into Garchomp, and then if I get full parried with Calyrex, I still lose. They could also just target the Calyrex here, I suppose. But then I can just EQ for a KO. Oh, okay. They target Calyrex. Cool. I think Earthquake should get the knockout from this range. Ah. I was thinking, you know, hey, look, doesn't look like they have a berry. But it's because we had Calyrex. Okay. So another way I could have played that was just protected EQ instead, but then if you just Ice Beam me, I feel like I lose. It's the last turn to Reflect. Do they have Recover is the question, because I'm going to Protect. If they have Recover here and they go for it, props. I feel like they have it, honestly. Let's see. Oh, well done. Well done. Yeah, it's a bold move, but I think, like, it comes down, if they don't have Recover, we outright win the game always with that. Maybe EQ would have just KO'd anyway, even. Nah, I don't think so. It was single target, though. Let's see how much this does. We would have needed to do, like, just over 50. Oh, EQ actually might have just picked up the KO. Oh, that was a crit, though. Okay, okay. It was a close one. I mean, this endgame was really volatile, right? Like, if we don't get fully parried on that... Wait. Did this Garchomp just take an Ice Beam from Gastrodon? He's built different. What? No way. That's amazing. Okay, I mean, I thought the game was just lost for sure. I didn't think we'd survive an Ice Beam. Granted, this Garchomp set's a little bit bulkier, so wow. What an endgame there. I didn't even think about that as a possibility. But Roserade going 2 for 2 is just super, super clutch for us. So yeah, nicely done, Roserade. And ultimately, where could I have improved in that one? I could have just eliminated the Grimmsnarl earlier, but like I said, I really didn't want to give my opponent a free switch in. They played really well with Dragapult, right? They read into every safe play that I made with Garchomp. Like the Phantasm into Latogekiss switch in, the double up into Calyrex as well. But at the end of the day, I think like them having Gastrodon actually punished them a little bit, because if you had Solgaleo in that endgame, you'd have something that could just outspeed my Spectre and KO me. But because they had Dragapult and the Gastrodon in the endgame, it worked out perfectly for Roserade. And I think I had to Sleep Powder Dragapult there, because if I don't, then they just win the game with Dragon Darts onto everything. But since the Garchomp was bulky, maybe I could have taken 2 Dragon Darts, and so could have protected Calyrex and gone for an EQ or Scale Shot into the Dragapult slot. But wow, what a game. Let's look for one final one. Last one here, and it's going to be a Kyogre team with Hatterene, Mimikyu, Rillaboom, Incin, and Indeedee. Okay. So Calyrex has Trick Room here to reverse Trick Room, because if Trick Room goes up against us, it's generally a very bad sign. Now I'm thinking we could maybe do something with the Dynamax Milotic under Trick Room in this one. If I'm my opponent, what do I lead? I also don't know if it's Scarf Kyogre or not, which is problematic. You could just go... I don't think you'd ever go into Mimikyu. Nasty Garchomp. Roserade's interesting for Sleep Powder potential. I don't have any Fairy Resist, so Gleam can break Sashes. Sorry, Lucario. It's not the day for you here. I almost almost want a Dynamax Garchomp in this matchup, but it's so weak into Hatterene and Kyogre. Okay, I'm gonna try this. Togekiss, Roserade, Milo, Calyrex. And Calyrex actually works as a max option for us as well as Milotic here. I don't love the matchup here because I think we don't really have super good damage. Although I guess one thing I didn't consider is that Roserade is very good into Kyogre. Just 1v1. The idea behind this lead is that Togekiss is good disruption and it's also bulky, while Roserade pressures with Sleep Powder. That's Mimikyu plus the Indeedee. Sorry, the Hatterene. It's late. Okay. I don't mind that. What an interesting turn one. I can't Sleep Powder into Hack as a Magic Bounce. I could Sleep Powder into Mimikyu. Doesn't seem terrible, honestly. I could also Helping Hand Sludge Bomb. I'm mainly intrigued by Dazzling Gleam into Sleep Powder here. The Dazzling Gleam breaks any potential Focus Sashes. And Sleep Powder denied. Like, I could see my opponent protecting Hatterene. Yep. And trying to Trick Room here. And so if I hit the Sleep Powder, we're in a very interesting shape going into turn 2. Okay. They're not buried either. It looks like Mimikyu was indeed trying to Trick Room. I haven't revealed that I'm Scarfed here either. So now this next turn is interesting, right? If you're my opponent, do you anticipate a Sleep Powder? I don't want to Sleep Powder into Hatterene carelessly. It's Healer. Whoa. So you're not Magic Bounce, meaning I can't Sleep Powder you. Huh. I'm bound to miss is the problem. But I don't think I have a better play to go for as of right now. I'm actually going to target Hat here because I now know you're not Magic Bounce. They're going to max it too. What? I think that's a smart play though because you're Healer. I don't think I've ever run into Healer Hatterene. That actually saves my opponent, I think. Well, not necessarily saves them. Like, I actually don't think they were in super bad shape even if they weren't. Even if they were just Magic Bounce regularly. But I at least deny them a Gigantamax attack this turn, so that's good. I do so little damage here. Like, I honestly want them to KO me. Healer is so fascinating. Wow. What are the odds of it activating, actually? Because I don't remember off the top of my head. If they stay asleep, so that's obviously very good for us. I just give up Roserade. Like, I deserve a Sleep Powder miss at this point. I don't even really care. I just need a free switch in. Ah, it's weakness policy? What is going on? Yeah, they wake up, but I can't even complain about that. Like, that's justice, honestly. Healer weakness policy Hatterene. That's a first. I don't think I've ever seen that. That's really cool. That is very, very, very cool. Okay. So here's the thing. I can reverse Trick Room with Calyrex. I also have Focus Sash, so I'm not even in immediate danger here. I want to follow me, reverse Trick Room, because this is their last turn of max with Hatterene. And then I can, if, the only issue is if they G-Max Smite, right? Because then I have to deal with confusion in the subsequent turns. Maybe Mimikyu also has like a Shadow Claw as well as a Sneak. I think we survive +2 Smite here. Yeah, nice. Okay. The problem is now I gotta attack through so many turns of confusion as well. This is
It's so cool. It's like all these conventional Pokemon run in such unconventional ways, and I hit myself in confusion. But
I can't complain about this one, right? Like, when I'm using Sleep Powder, yeah, like something like that's bound to happen. The problem is now I actually feel like the game is almost over. Oh, not necessarily, actually. Because the thing is, I bring in Milo. My main issue is that my Sash on Calyrex is broken. But let's say they bring in Kyogre right now. I can protect Calyrex, Geyser, KO Hat. It is Kyogre, yep. Wow, Weakness Policy, Healer, Hatterene, Curse, Mimikyu, which is so cool because it gives you a free switch into Kyogre. That's actually, like, I haven't really seen Curse use at all, but that's actually such smart usage of it. I guess I could max this as well, but maxing Calyrex when there's 2 turns of Trick Room left feels very, very shaky. I just don't really know how I out-damage Kyogre right now. It could be a defensive Calyrex defensive Calyrex max where I max this and then just Muddy Water. I don't even KO. Oh, misery. Double Protect is a possibility as well. See, the thing is, if I had actually not hit myself in confusion there, I'd reverse Trick Room and then I can just Astro Barrage or even Dynamax the Calyrex with more confidence. But this was going to be a volatile matchup, right? Between Sleep Powder misses, Healer activating at any point when I put things to sleep, and the and the G-Max Smite coming out. Feels bad. Yeah, that's game over then. I can't win the game if I don't get that Protect off, I think. Even if I did, I think the odds were still pretty shaky, to be honest, especially because like Milo took so much damage. I needed to not get confused the first time around and just reverse Trick Room outright. I guess it's still theoretically winnable, but I don't see... Milo just doesn't have enough damage at this point. This is a game I don't feel, I guess, that bad about. Calyrex would have been a pretty strong lead, though. Roserade Calyrex. The problem is I can't really deny Trick Room from Mimikyu unless I'm reversing with my own Calyrex. Oh, Rillaboom's their last one. Okay, then we really had no shot. Fun set of games, though. Very fun set of games. Unfortunately, Lucario didn't really get to come out, but at least we brought everything else out. Shoutouts to Garchomp for that carry performance at the end of game 2. That was incredible. I was not expecting that. Cool. Okay. Well, that was a really fun set of games, one way or the other. We ran into some really cool teams. Rayquaza in that first one. This one with the very interesting Mimikyu plus Hatterene combo with some very unexpected surprises, including the Weakness Policy as well as the Curse, which gave my opponent a free switch in Kyogre. That was really neat. And in this one, it's like, yeah, you know, we're lucky enough to even hit those first 2 Sleep Powders, right? So it's like I can't really complain about them getting an early wake up and then the G-Max might confusing me as well. The main problem is I let them get Trick Room up, right? And so if I don't want that to happen, I basically need to deny Trick Room. But yeah, they had some really, really cool surprises there. So shout outs to my opponent there. Anyway, that is going to be it for this one. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I'm looking forward to just, you know, trying out a couple more fun teams before we finish off the ranked season. I know at this point, you know, we've run through so many very like meta standard teams that, yeah, I think it'd just be fun to try out some funky sets or Pokemon as we round out the final week and a half of Series 11. So thanks so much as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please show support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace.